Your head hurts right now. So you reach into a cabinet, pop 2 small white tablets, and swallow them with a glass of water. 15 minutes later, the pain fades. You don't think about it again. But the real answer to how humans survive pain is far stranger than a pill bottle. For 300,000 years, there was no cabinet, no tablets, no 15-minute wait. There was only you, your body, and whatever agony it decided to hand you that day. So how did anyone survive that? Your ancestors didn't outsuffer pain through sheer toughness. They out-engineered it, using tools built into their own biology long before a chemist ever touched a willow tree. Pain, it turns out, was never the enemy. Was a messenger. And for most of human history, the only medicine available was learning to listen to that messenger, then find clever ways to quiet it down. Start with the body itself. When you're injured, your brain doesn't just register damage. It releases a flood of chemicals called endorphins, short for endogenous morphine. Endogenous means made inside you. Morphine means painkiller. Your own brain manufactures opioids on demand. This isn't folklore. In 1973, researchers Candace Pert and Solomon Snyder identified opioid receptors in the brain, proving that the human body was built with a lock, and evolution had already carved the key. A soldier shot in battle can run for cover feeling almost nothing. A mother in labor can walk into a delivery room upright and mid-conversation. That isn't bravery. That's neurochemistry doing exactly what it evolved to do. Shut pain down long enough for you to survive the moment that caused it. Feel that. Your body has always known how to dose itself. But endorphins only blunt pain. They don't explain how ancient humans treated chronic aches, infections, or the long, grinding pain of everyday injury. For that, they turned outward to plants. Long before Bayer put aspirin in a bottle, humans were chewing bark. Willow bark specifically. Ancient Egyptian texts from 1500 BCE describe using it for aches and fevers. Centuries later, the Greek physician Hippocrates recommended willow leaves for pain relief. Neither of them knew why it worked. They just noticed that it did and passed that knowledge forward generation to generation like a recipe with no label. It took thousands of years for anyone to explain the mechanism. In 1897, a chemist named Felix Hoffmann, working at Bayer, isolated and stabilized the active compound in willow bark, salicin, into a synthetic form. He named it aspirin. What your ancestors discovered through trial, error, and desperation, a lab finally explained through chemistry. Here's the strange part. The compound never changed. Only the container did. So if the medicine existed in nature all along, why did ancient humans need anything more than plants and endorphins? Because pain isn't only physical. It's also psychological, shaped by belief, attention, and expectation. This is where things get genuinely strange. In the 1960s, 2 researchers named Ronald Melzack and Patrick Wall proposed something called gate control theory. The idea is simple. Your spinal cord acts like a gate. Pain signals from an injury have to pass through that gate to reach your brain before you consciously feel them. But other signals like touch, distraction, or emotion can partially close that gate first. That's why rubbing a stubbed toe actually helps. That's why soldiers in the heat of battle report almost no pain until hours later. The gate was open for something else entirely. Ever wonder why pain feels worse late at night, alone, with nothing to distract you? Now you know. There's no competing signal left to close the gate. Belief closes the gate too, sometimes powerfully enough to feel like real medicine. Researcher Fabrizio Benedetti spent decades studying the placebo effect, showing that patients given a sugar pill, but told it was a real painkiller, released measurable amounts of their own endorphins in response. The expectation of relief triggered actual, physical relief. Ancient rituals, chants, and shamanic ceremonies weren't only superstition. Many were functioning, primitive placebo systems harnessing belief to do real neurochemical work, centuries before anyone had a word for the placebo effect. Your ancestors didn't need to understand any of this to use it. A healer chanting over a wound. A community gathering around someone in pain, offering attention and touch. A ritual performed with total conviction. Every one of those was quietly closing the gate, releasing endorphins and reducing suffering, all without a single molecule of medicine involved. Which raises an uncomfortable question. If the mind can dial pain up or down this dramatically, how much of what you feel today is really about the injury, and how much is about the story your brain is telling about it? Chronic pain researchers now know that fear and anxiety don't just accompany pain. They amplify it. Anticipating pain activates nearly the same brain regions as experiencing it. This means the ancient human crouched in a cave, terrified and alone with an infected wound, likely felt worse pain than the modern equivalent might, purely because of the fear layered on top. Community, ritual, and distraction weren't just comfort. They were functional anesthesia, dulling both the physical signal and the psychological terror amplifying it. Modern medicine eventually caught up to what instinct had already been doing. Isolate the chemical. Bottle it. Standardize the dose. Aspirin became the first mass-produced synthetic drug in history, and it opened the door to the entire pharmaceutical industry that followed. But even now, with morphine, ibuprofen, and 1,000 engineered compounds available, Doctors still can't fully explain why two people with an identical injury can report wildly different levels of pain. The chemistry only ever tells part of the story. Here's the twist nobody expects. For 300,000 years, humans weren't just enduring pain. They were unknowingly running a sophisticated, three-part treatment plan. Internal chemistry through endorphins, external chemistry through plants like willow bark, and psychological chemistry through belief, distraction, and community. Modern medicine didn't invent pain relief. It isolated, purified, and industrialized something your ancestors were already doing by instinct without a single lab in sight. So the next time your head hurts and you reach for that bottle, notice what's actually happening. You're not overriding your biology. You're outsourcing a job your own brain has been doing since before language existed, before agriculture, before anything you'd recognize as civilization. Tonight, when you take that tablet, you'll feel the pain fade in about 15 minutes. But the real relief started 300,000 years earlier, inside a brain that already knew exactly how to make its own medicine.